Hello, hello, hello. Welcome. New season. Aren't we all excited to have us back? Myself and Chris, just to come and annoy you. Just when you thought it was safe. So, Chris, how have you been doing, mate, in the off season? How are things going?
Well, to be honest, I thought they were going really well. I thought they were. But I had the big trade and gave up a lot of draft picks for an offense which I hadn't got. And we'll see how it pans out.
Yeah, fair enough. Well, shall we actually? What we're going to do today is going to have a little look at the games and get us back into the swing of it, as it were. So, Chris, do you want to start us off, mate, and have a look at some games for us?
Yeah, we'll do. Okay. I've had to make notes because I've been a bit short on time, so I've had to write a little bit down because I just haven't really had the time to do a lot. So I'll start with the Bombers and the Maroons. So Jeff's team against Scott's. And to be honest, you couldn't really expect a lot from this game. If I'm truthful, Jeff's team is in rebuild mode. We all saw that with the draft. He picked up draft picks left, right, and centre, especially at the top of the draft. So we knew he was rebuilding. Yeah. And it was, it was 0-40. The Maroons just walked away with it. The Bombers were never in it, simple as that. So no point in dwelling on that. So I'll move on. Also in the PFC North, I'll move on to the Surfers and the Rivets. Now then, Gary's team against the unbelievable Conrad's Rivets. And no, well, I don't know. I say no surprise. It finished 14-34 to the Rivets. So Conrad was inexorably undefeated again. But it was a lot closer than the score because the Rivets actually had 5 turnovers. Had 5 turnovers. And Gary managed to keep Gazelle Jr., the returner, in check. And the difference probably in the game was Conrad's wide receiver, Ruggsy. Who, yet again, Ruggsy. 217 yards on 19 receptions. And he was probably the difference in the game, to be truthful. Felt a bit sorry for Gary because the score kind of flatters Conrad's Rivets. But he finds a way to win. He always finds a way to win. But,
Doesn't it? Yeah.
What can you say? I will move on to the Rapiers and the Generals. Now, this was a masterclass by Pogue, as usual. Whatever level he's on, 32 or whatever he is. He was 30 of 53, 375 yards, 3 touchdowns. MVP was his tight end, BT. Who's a force to be reckoned with. 159 yards, 2 touchdowns. Probably the best tight end in the league. Over 4 seasons, he's had 3,742 yards. Not bad for a tight end.
Yeah. Not bad, is it?
No, not bad at all. I mean, the Generals ran the ball as they do. They were good at it, but at the end of the day, the Rapiers were just too strong. Passing game was too strong. Generals couldn't stop it. I don't know what's going on with Ebener or Evans. Nobody knows what's going on there. There's been no announcements about him leaving or another coach, caretaker coach. Been nothing like that. So I don't know. Wait and see, I suppose. And then we'll move on to the Titans and the Packers. What a game. What a very close game that was. I mean, it finished 24-14 to James's team. Tom will be a little bit miffed, I would imagine, because it was very, very close. Both teams had 15 first downs. They both had 3 turnovers. And again, I mean, the difference was probably the wide receiver, Malone, MVP. 259 yards on 13 receptions, 2 touchdowns. But I mean, that was a massive game to win at the Packers. James is obviously doing something right. He's been building and building and building, and maybe this is the season where it all starts to come to fruition. very, very good game, and that's going to be the West is going to be very interesting. Yeah, it's looking forward to watching these contests. This will be good all through the season. Yeah, looking
Yeah,
forward.
it's been thrown open a bit, hasn't it, this season?
Yeah,
I think.
yeah, it has. Yeah. Sosa, would you like to tell us?
Okay, shall I have a look at some of the LFCs then? We'll start with the LFC West, the game between the Buccaneers and the Sharks, your trading partner.
Oh, indeed.
Yeah, he's been on the phone. He wants his money back.
Wants his players back.
Yeah. Basically, this game really should have been renamed the Kindergarten Bowl, because these two are the youngest teams, or just about the youngest teams, in the whole division. The starting lineup for the Bucks is an average age of 1 year and 55, 1.55. And the starting lineup for the Sharks is 1.82. So an average age under 2. So, we know obviously with the big trade that that you had with Ben's total and utter rebuild situation. I did notice he's given a lot of his rookies a start. So it'll be interesting to see how they progress as the season goes on. I don't think we can expect too much to start off with, but I'm sure the team will grow as the game goes on, as the season goes on. This one, a bit of a washout, 45-0. So the Bucks run out very, very easily when I was there. So look at the other game in the West, the Irish 21, Massive 38. And here, basically, Martin's Massive took a 25-0 lead by half time. And I have to be honest, that was just about it, game over. There's no real coming back from a sort of 25-point deficit in the first half. The difference really was Martin's passing game. 340 yards, 67% completion rate. His wide receiver Cordes got 175 yards from 9 receptions, and his wide receiver Baldwin chipped in with 128 yards from 8 receptions. So if you've got 2 wide receivers on song, you've got a quarterback that's throwing the ball. It was an inevitable win, to be quite honest. So yeah, a good result that for the Massive. If we now move to the LFC South, the Knights against the Shadows, Knights 37, Shadows 10. And before half time, this game was really, really even Stevens. It could have gone either way. The Knights went out to a 10-0 lead, but then Jamie clawed it all back. So at half time, we were sitting 10-all, all to play for. Now, I've absolutely no idea what the heck went on in the Knights dressing room, but the second half was unbelievable. They must have had a rocket up their asses, because basically they came out and put on 27 unanswered points in the second half. Game over. Just unbelievable. So it was easy peasy in the first half, and then all of a sudden the Knights just ran away with it. Some solid figures for Brian's Knights: 352 yards passing, 109 yards rushing. So again, he's offering a bit of both, just to keep everyone on. So a great win there for the Knights. And the other one in the LFC South was the Weasels against the Rhinos. Again, this one was pretty even if you look at the yardage. Both teams, the total yardage, both teams moved the ball pretty much the same as each other. But when you look at the score, 20 to the Weasels, 3 to the Rhinos, it was pretty sort of safe going. The Weasels really always had the game under their control. The Rhinos never really could get into it. Ben, as we saw last season, is building up one heck of a strong team there, and it looks as if the Weasels are going to be there or thereabouts yet again. So it wasn't a flash in the pan. It looks as if he's building quite a little dynasty there. So a nice win for the Weasels to round up the LFC South. So back over to you then, sir. Have you got anything for us?
Well, including in this little section that we've got, I had the pleasure of interviewing Mr. Don Kane last weekend, the weekend before, and we talked about all things gridiron and all things NFL. So obviously, at this point, we'll move to the interview, and you can feast your merry little eyes on that, and it's very entertaining guy, Don. Great fun, and obviously, I will be pursuing the rest of Antipodean and friends during the course of the season and get them all on if I can. Yeah, but yeah, the Don Kane interview is coming up. Moving on, past Don. Right, next game up was the Bulldogs and the Devils. Zane's Devils, obviously Miranda's Bulldogs. The Bulldogs were never in it. I know they're rebuilding as well, but it was a dominant performance by Zane's Devils, 0-27. Quarterback, and I can't pronounce his name, Arathan or something like that. Arathan, I don't know. 316 yards, 3 touchdowns, and a 121 rating, QBR rating of 100. We dream of that, don't we? We dream of getting above 80. 121 QBR rating. And wide receiver Charby, 218 yards, 2 touchdowns. To be fair to Miranda's team, I mean, they were 24 points down at half time and only conceded 3 points in the second half.
Wow.
So something went right in the second half. So although it was 27-zip, yeah, something went right in the second half. But the game was all over, obviously, by half time. But, you know, they're in rebuild, the Bulldogs. Zane moves on. I read Zane's comments. He wasn't overly ecstatic with the result because he felt that, just like I just said, he felt like the Bulldogs really weren't in it. So he's waiting to see what comes next, I think.
Yeah.
Next game, the aforementioned Don and his Huskies against Mark's Stormers, and that finished 13-35 to the Stormers. But it was actually a closer game than the score sort of suggests, because the difference was the running back, Pritchard, for the Stormers. He had 128 yards and 4 touchdowns. They had it on offense, but it really, I mean, Don's getting better, and you know, in the interview we talk about the things he's learning, but he's improving. You know, and he should be optimistic, and I think he probably is. You know, it wasn't a bad start. Flattered the Stormers slightly, the result, but you know, and he was away from home, so be interesting to see how he goes for the rest of the season, to be honest. Yeah, but I think he's making strides now. I think he's got a better grasp on the way that gridiron runs. You know, I wish I did. Right, moving on. Yorkshire Warriors against the ever-present Newcastle Eagles. Who just, you know, if you can beat the Eagles, you're doing well. Yeah, especially at the Eagles. And the Warriors just hadn't got any answer for Andy's dominance. It was 24-0. And I mean, says it all. Andy's quarterback Marsh was 22 of 26 with a touchdown and wasn't sacked once. So it just, Ambrose's team wasn't in it. As simple as that. You know, the score could have been higher. In truth, yeah. It is what it is. So hard to beat the Eagles at the Eagles. And finally, I'll move on to my game of the week. Game of the week. Featuring my own Chargers and the Rockets. Yes. Yeah, which was a great game. Unfortunately, I lost, so it wasn't as great a game as I hoped it would be. I lost 22-29, and it was just offense, nearly 1,000 yards between the two teams. The difference was turnovers. Yeah, Pete forced my team into turnovers. I had 5, he had 2. Yeah, both teams played pretty well, but I could not get into his end zone, and I kept stalling in his half. Great defensive performance from Pete, who played it up before the game and said, "Oh no, I haven't got a defense. Oh no, I might have got yards, but I couldn't get points." Yeah, and it summed it up. Right? I was first in inches on his goal line. Right, first in inches, second in inches, Second in inches again because he had a penalty half the distance to the goal line.
Oh my God.
Third in inches, I didn't get in. Fourth in inches, I didn't get in. He got the bloody ball back. Yeah. 5 attempts. And I couldn't get in the end zone. From inches. Yeah.
Oh dear.
Brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. Yeah. I tell you, fair play to him. He coached a really good game and his defense was outstanding. I mean, I had 500 yards of offense, but I couldn't get into his bloody end zone. Yeah. So, hence the score 22-29. I can't wait for the rematch.
Yeah.
As long as I don't get hammered. But no, great game, really good game. Congratulations, yeah, congratulations.
Yeah.
That's going to make life really difficult for me. We're already chasing, Phil's rapiers, because they're going to be the team to beat, and that's just made it so much harder. So yeah, Ben, can I have my draft picks back, please?
Yeah. So I've got the similar sort of situation in the old LFC North because I also lost. Rushmore was 23, the Patriots 34. I think I'm right in saying, somebody will correct me if I'm wrong here, that I think this is Steve's 30th season actually running the Patriots as the coach of the Patriots. I think he started in season 8. We're now in season 38. So that in itself is an unbelievable achievement. So basically, if anyone knows what his squad is like, if anyone knows what his strengths and weaknesses are like, I'm sure it's Steve. So what he basically does before he goes out there is he gets hold of his quarterback, his 5-year veteran quarterback, Oakwell, and he basically just tells him, throw the bloody ball. And Oakwell then obliges, and he threw the bloody ball for 422 yards, to be precise. And there was absolutely nothing I could do about it. Despite setting up my defense against the long pass, etc., etc. And then just to rub insult into injury, the wide receiver drift did actually have the decency to catch 145 yards. But then Steve really took the mickey because his running back, Hill, actually received the ball for 140 yards, and his other bloody running back, Average, received it for 123 yards. So if it's not bad enough having the Hornets in your bloody division where they're throwing to the running backs, see all these teams that have got receiving running backs. I don't know what on earth to do with them.
No, they're a power, aren't they? They're a force to be reckoned with. So
it's just too much for my little old brain to keep with. In fairness, we did manage to keep it reasonable. The score was actually was it 23-27, going right up to the final minute when Steve decided to just punch me in the guts and get a last minute touchdown converted. So yeah, good game, Steve. Well played, mate. 34-23. The other game in that division, 66ers against the Hornets, 66ers 13, and the Giant Hornets 27. And again, this was pretty much standard fare for Mr. Escobar. He ran for a massive 3 yards, and he received for a massive 245 yards.
Good Lord.
As their running back. So again, in total, the Giant Hornets moved the ball 377 yards in the air and 10 yards on the ground. Nearly all of it, as I say, 245 of that going to their running back. So again, a brave defense, in fairness, from Craig. It could have been a lot worse, but he did actually manage to shut, because 27 points for the Hornets isn't a massive amount. A spread of 14 is not bad at all. So Craig's defense did very, very well. But Colin, as usual, just too good, and just goes marching on again. So that was the LFC North. LFC East. Our old friend Patrick is back, and by God, is he back? Patrick likes to sort of announce his return, as it were.
I think he's back,
and he's come back with a bang, that's for sure. Ian's Phoenix last season swept the board with most people, but they today or the other day were actually themselves just swept aside by an absolutely ruthless fire team. They really were. who have obviously been just waiting for Patrick to return from his Atlantic sojourn, shall we say. Because within the first minute, quarterback Evans for the Phoenix was sacked. Not only was he sacked, but he fumbled the ball. Not only was he sacked and fumbled the ball, but he did it behind in his own end zone. So within a minute, Patrick's Berlin Fire was 7-up. Okay. The very next time Berlin received the ball, a drive for a touchdown, 14-0. The next time they received the ball, a drive for a touchdown, 21-0. So we're 21-0, 13 minutes of the game gone. And Ian's probably just looking at the screen going, what the heck is going on here? Totally and utterly ruthless, as I say. 244 yards rushing, 99 yards by, wait for this one. We've got to get our heads around stuff, Chris. We're getting too old for this game, I'll tell you. Quarterback Vergis ran for 99 yards. So we've now got scrambling quarterbacks. We've got receiving running backs. It's like, what happened to good old football,
Ambrose's quarterback for the Yorkshire Warriors, he is similar, 15 yards a carry for just 100 yards.
No, it's crazy stuff. And the final game, and this is, I would say, the game of the week in the LFC, was the Sun Devils 30, the Statesmen 32. One heck of a close game. What you've really got to do with this, to be quite honest, is you've got to make time and go and watch it, because it was just one of those games that was backwards and forwards. It's an absolute cracker. I can't really do it justice here. It's one of those cases where seeing is believing. You've got to go and watch it. What I will say is that the Sun Devils started off with 3 field goals, one after the other, to take a 9-0 lead. But by half time, the Statesmen had taken the lead, they caught up, overtaken, and they went in at halftime, Statesmen 16-9 up. And then after more scoring from both sides, quite free-flowing, we arrived at the 58th minute, okay? And the Statesmen were leading 23-26 at the stage, and this is 58 minutes gone. We then, after 58 minutes and 10 seconds, we had a touchdown from the Sun Devils. So they now led 30-26. Okay. After 58 minutes and 50 seconds, we had a touchdown from the Statesmen, who then missed the extra point to take a 32-30 lead. And then we were a 68-yard kickoff, a 24-yard return. So basically, there was 40 seconds of the match left, and the Sun Devils had to move the ball 74 yards. And as you can tell from the scoreline, they didn't. So the Statesmen ran out 32-30, and what a game it really was. It was unbelievable. Just that final couple of minutes was, fantastic. So a great win there for Lee. Unlucky, for Sam, but he'll be back. And unfortunately, he plays me next week, so he'll probably get his first win there. So that just about, I think, sums up all the matches that we've had this week. So some good games there. Some good games. I don't know. Yeah, I don't know what you felt was the any surprises, any highlights. I suppose the Packers.
I think it's surprising how close it is. I think that's the Fire are back. We knew that the Rapiers would be strong. James is back. Obviously, the rivets continue. Every time we write them off, they just carry on winning.
Yeah.
But it's going to be I think it's going to be a really interesting season. I think there are a lot of teams that are getting closer. There's a lot more parity than there has been, I think.
Yeah.
And as you look at the results each week, I think that there's a lot of teams capable of beating other teams that maybe wouldn't have done last season or the season before. So I mean, the game that you just mentioned in itself, Sam against Lee, Sam, has come from nowhere, really. That's a really good. I know he lost, but it's still a really good result for Sam because to be close to the Statesman. Lee knows what he's doing. He had a poor season last season, but we all know he'll be back. I just think I think it'll be a hell of a season. I think it'll be a really good season. And the playoffs will be really interesting.
Yeah, I must admit I could have done without my 5 injuries, but then when I looked at the injury table, I saw that there's one team above me. That is the Rivets. They had more injuries than I did. So we shall have to see how that affects things.
Well, I haven't even had a look yet at my injuries. I've not had a chance to game plan yet. So this smile might disappear by Thursday.
No, well, I've got nine points of injuries, and Conrad's got 10. So I have to have one game. So we shall see how that affects us, because again, it's like everything else. It depends who the hell it is and how long they're out for, So So I should be reshuffling, and of course I went and messed it all up and coached before I changed the team round. So yes, indeed. So one makes these amateur mistakes.
Yeah, we all do it. There's been loads of times I've coached and thought, well, I've coached so quickly, and I haven't actually looked at what I need to do. Yeah,
but no, I hadn't put them into injured reserve, so and I can't now.
Yeah,
because I've already coached. So I'm like, oh, great stuff. Yeah. So whether I play them injured or just leave them on I don't know. Go and shoot myself.
It all depends on the injuries, I suppose.
Yeah. And the other thing to remind everyone of is if you have a college team, college goes live this week. So for all of us that have been sort of not ignoring them, but just keeping them to one side, you've got some coaching to do, you've got some sorting to do, you've got some 4 ticks required, etc., so that we can go, complete the college bowl as well, the college this season. Yeah.
Midnight oil for me on Thursday.
Yeah, I think it's going to be across the board, to be quite honest, right? Yeah. But anyway, Chris, thank you very much indeed, Sam.
We're hoping to get some guests.
We're hoping to get some guests in within the next week or two. So we shall see how that goes. And have a good week, and I shall see you, all being well, same time next week, mate.
Yes, indeed, sir. Okay. Yeah. See you soon.
Yeah. Bye, guys. Bye.
Bye.